2016 pa madumduman sang nadaog sang Pilipinas ang arbitral ruling sa South China Sea batok sa China. Pero tubtub karon, nabaliwala ini. Subong nga aga isa ka leading expert sa issue sa South China Sea ang makaupod naton tanan. Si Gregory Poling nga nagaserbe subong nga Director and Senior Fellow sa Southeast Asia Program at Asia Maritime Transparency Initiative.
Hi there mga kapuso, welcome back. You are still watching GMA Regional TV Early Edition. This morning, we will be joined by a book author. With us this morning is Sir Greg Poling. Hi Sir Greg, good morning. Welcome to GMA Regional TV Early Edition. May aga.
I'm very good, thank you. Mayong buntag. Thank you for having me on.
Mr. Poling, you work as a Senior Fellow for Southeast Asia and at the same time, such a busy guy, Director of Asia Maritime Transparency Initiative. What's your role when it comes to research on South China Sea issues?
Well, my job, the job of any think tank in DC, is to give advice to the U.S. government. Ultimately, we're independent researchers. For the last 8 years, we spent a lot of time buying commercial satellite images and the like, and using those to analyze China's behavior in the West Philippine Sea, much of which you've probably seen in the press here and abroad.
Yes.
And it really allowed us to shine a light on Beijing's intentions and provide, I think, some useful advice to both Washington and Manila.
Sir Greg, we're very much delighted to have this opportunity to sit down and talk with you this morning about your new book on Dangerous Ground, America's Century in the South China Sea. We anticipate learning a great deal about the history of the United States' engagement in the world's most dangerous waterway. Please provide our Kapuso viewers the information they need in order for them to understand what your book is all about.
Well, I wrote the book because I found that both in the U.S. and in the Philippines, there's a remarkable lack of historical knowledge about how these disputes started, why we got here, why we care so much. China's been really good at funding research on its version of the history, and we haven't done as much work on the other versions of the history. So I wanted to go back and see, what has the U.S. been saying? What have U.S. officials been saying for over 100 years as these disputes evolved? And what I found is that there's really two threads that run throughout the last century for the U.S. One was its commitment to its alliances, particularly with the Philippines. And two was its commitment to freedom of the seas. And that you can find that all the way back in our objections to Japanese claims before World War II. It's not new, and it's been extremely consistent all the way through.
Mr. Poling, what does this book seek to convey to U.S. national security policy, aside from offering the most thorough account in the first place of America's history in the South China Sea?
I don't think we can know where we're going without understanding where we came from. We have to understand what the U.S. has historically cared about in order to distinguish which interests really matter, where do we have to hold the line, and where can we compromise. And so what I hope this book conveys is that time and again, the United States has found the issue of freedom of the seas to be of vital national importance. And time and again, the U.S. has determined that the U.S.-Philippine alliance is of vital national importance. And both of them are at threat right now in the West Philippine Sea and must be defended. We can compromise on a lot of the details, but those fundamental interests have been abiding for over 100 years.
As a prominent expert on the South China Sea dispute, what, in your opinion, are the best methods to pursue frameworks that, say, prioritize U.S. interests?
Well, I think in the case of the alliance, the U.S. interest and the Philippine interest align. So the most important thing for the two countries to do is to come together to modernize and update the framework of our alliance for the 21st century. Right? It's not 1951 anymore. The alliance must grow and change. And we've seen Secretary Lorenzana with Secretary of Defense Austin make a lot of progress in that last year. That needs to continue in order to deter and dissuade Beijing from ever resorting to force. That'll buy us the time for a diplomatic solution. But that diplomatic solution will take many, many, many years, and it will have to involve being honest and open about China's bad behavior, not just sweeping it under the rug.
Now let's tone this down a little bit this time around. There are 10 chapters in your book. Well, which one is your personal favorite, Mr. Poling, and why?
The one that I had the best time writing and the one that taught me the most was the chapter entitled The Great Alliance Debate, which covers the years from 1975 to 1979 in which the Marcos government made the South China Sea issue fundamental to the renewal of the military basing agreement for the first time. The Marcos administration was very worried for the first time that Filipino outposts might be attacked, and the United States for the first time had to really think about what the treaty meant in the context of the South China Sea. And I think the decisions that were made in those 4 years color how our relationship operates today in ways that haven't been appreciated.
We're very much excited to see what your book has to offer to our Kapuso viewers. Can you tell us where we can get this one?
Well, you'll first be able to get it on Amazon on July 1st if you like to read the Kindle, the electronic version. I'm afraid the printer has been delayed like everything else in COVID with supply chain delays. So we don't really know. The hard copy will be available in the Philippines either in August or September, but we don't have an exact date. Well, I just want to be very clear. It's not just my work either. This builds on the work of a lot of great Filipino friends and colleagues without whom I couldn't have done it. So this is not just my story. It really stands on their shoulders. And I think it's vital that we all understand our own story, not just accept the stories that Beijing is feeding us.
Thank you for giving us this chance, this opportunity to speak with you this morning. Such a great deal for us here in Western Visayas. Good morning. God bless you.
Thank you.
O Kapuso, dinala ka mga Don't Switch Channels. Madahin na magtuto kay isa na naman. Ka-talented Kapuso, tang atong makaupod sa Bistalk sa pagbalik sa inyong paborito ng programa ko na aga, GMA Regional TV Early Edition.
Ini ang GMA Regional TV Early Edition.